What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday. Hopefully everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. It is time now for the Sunday weather update for Sunday, December 8th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the weather update for the United States on all the different weather stories happening in the United States and sometimes a weather headline from somewhere else around the world. Today we're going to talk about the weather for the upcoming week and beyond, and it is definitely looking like a very active pattern. It is going to be a stormy first half of the week for the eastern portion of the United States, and then we're going to be talking about more storm threats as we get into maybe late next weekend and into the following week. So you want to stick around and find out about that. If you're new here, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know, and of course leave your comments down below. The more time people hit that like button or leave a comment, the more interactions we get, the more YouTube's going to push this content throughout the algorithm. Alrighty, starting off with this. The one thing that is going to happen with the stormy pattern to start the week in the east is things are going to warm up. And you probably already noticed it today if you're in much of the east. I know we felt it here in Philadelphia. Temperatures were in the upper 50s. And would you believe it? After how cold it's been, temperatures are actually going to go even warmer than that. Some places will hit 60 tomorrow. Some places in the southeast will get even warmer than 60 going forward. And here's the Weather Prediction Center, and they're saying a much needed warmer than average temperatures will be felt across the east through middle week. But another cold blast is lurking as a Pacific front and reinforcing Arctic front enter the region. Yes, it's going to get cold again. Maybe not as cold as it was, but another cold burst is going to come behind this front. But it's not going to have staying power. It's not going to last long. Let's continue on here. Take a look at the temperature map here, and you can see here things are really going to warm up as we get into portions of Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You see 60s, you see 70s, and you even see, take a look at this, yes, 50s to near 60 degrees all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts as we head into Wednesday. But that's going to come with a price, and that price could be some heavy rainfall. No major power outage issues to talk about today. Taking a look at the satellite picture, you can see the first piece to that puzzle is coming. There is a boundary that is down here in the southeast. That's going to be a warm front that comes through the northeast as we head through the day tomorrow, and there will be some rain with that. There may even be some initial mixing up in northern New England, northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and portions of Maine. That will eventually change to rain and plain rain as well. And you can see here, this boundary will come northeast, and there will be some light rainfall amounts, maybe a quarter of an inch in some places, maybe some places locally more south and west of Pennsylvania, but it's not going to be the big story of the week. The big story of the week is coming on Wednesday. All right, taking a look at the wind map, and you can see here, down in the south, the flow is starting to come out of the south, starting to see a flow out of the Gulf of Mexico. That's one ingredient that we're going to need for a rain event in the east, and that's also an ingredient that's going to bring in warmer air as well. Taking a look at radar across the country, we see several things going on. First off, we do see there is some moderate to heavy rain across the Gulf Coast states, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas is seeing some rain, Missouri is seeing some rain. Then we have this weather system up in the north as well, Minneapolis, North Dakota, there are some showers there. And on the west coast, take a look at this. We are continuing to see rain come into Seattle and Portland, Oregon. More so showers at this point, and some mountain snows are still a thing. Taking a look at what's going on from the National Weather Service, we can see with that system that is further to the north, there is a little bit of a wintry aspect. Therefore, northern Minnesota does have winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings, and you can also see that in portions of Montana, blizzard warnings are now up as well. And take a look at this. Blizzard warning tonight. Nighttime hazards can be nearly impossible to see. Travel is strongly discouraged. Yeah. And they're not really talking about the amounts of snow. It's more so the conditions that are going to occur. And it's 3 inches of snow with 50-mile-per-hour winds at the same time, which means, yes, that is going to make it very dangerous for travel. We also see on the West Coast red flag warnings up for the Los Angeles area. I am concerned about that. The Storm Prediction Center is also concerned about that because on Monday and Tuesday there is a critical fire risk there. Now, by the time we get into Tuesday, we have to look in the southeast. Mobile, Alabama, Columbus, Georgia, portions of Alabama and the Florida Panhandle do now have a marginal risk of severe weather. And I think it is possible this marginal risk area, as we get closer in time, gets expanded further to the northeast, and it may even get expanded northwest to include Birmingham. Right now, it's just a marginal risk. We'll have to keep our eyes on it. An isolated tornado spin-up can't be ruled out. Wind would be the biggest threat with this event. Taking a look now at the Weather Prediction Center, we can see on tonight into tomorrow, there comes that warm front that moves in, and you can see it will spread some midday rain across portions of the Mid-Atlantic region. Washington, D.C., it may start even earlier than that, and eventually by the afternoon, it will move into the northeast. You can see here, the Weather Prediction Center is going with a little bit of snow and mixing, and you're not going to see a lot of snow in Vermont and portions of New Hampshire, but you have to watch out. There's some icing. Some of that cold air may be tough to exit, so there may be a little bit of an icy issue. And remember, just a glaze of ice is all it will take for there to be some problems. And you can see, even tomorrow night, still a little bit of mixing before we get into Tuesday and Wednesday, where you can see that does change over to rain. But you'll also see here, as we head into Tuesday, the threat of rainfall along the East Coast does increase. The Dakotas, there will be a little bit of snow for you on Tuesday, and things will be quieter on the West Coast. As we head into Wednesday, we do see a little bit of a disturbance starting to show up here from the Weather Prediction Center, and that will get more pronounced on later into Wednesday into Thursday in the Pacific Northwest. We do note here, yes, rain for much of the East Coast, and it is going to be heavy rain at times. The backside of the system will have some snow. It's just a question of where this low gets going. If this low deepens faster, well, then the backside from Pennsylvania on northward could put down a significant amount of snow. And when I say significant, I mean 6+ inches of snow in some area. But this is not looking like a classic snowstorm. And by the time we get into Thursday, that front will clear, and hello, it is going to be windy in the east once again. A pressure gradient is going to set up, and you can see at that same time, that's when the Pacific Northwest, yes, you're back into a very stormy pattern, which will last right into next weekend, and there could be a significant storm for portions of next weekend. And then in the east, well, that remains a question, what's going to happen there. I'll show you on the models in just a moment. Taking a look at the Weather Prediction Center, just a marginal risk of heavy rainfall today. Tomorrow is a slight risk for Louisiana, Alabama, and portions of Mississippi as well. And day 3, there is a slight risk as well, with a marginal risk all the way up into Virginia. Yes, there is going to be a convective aspect with this system that develops, and there will be some heavy rainfall along that I-95 corridor, even up into portions of New England, like Boston. You could see some really heavy rainfall. This is needed rainfall, but I'm concerned with the convective nature. There could be a small flash flood threat, and there could be drainage issues. You know, there's still leaves out there in the streets, so drains, there could be some street flooding. Yeah, I'll show you. Coming up now on to the precipitation forecast, let's go days 1 through 7. Take a look at this. First off, in the Pacific Northwest, we can see here what's left of today's system, and then the next system is showing up here in the precipitation forecast. So generally 1 to 3 inches of precipitation. Locally 3+ is possible. In the east, from the Gulf Coast, even all the way up into Maine, we're talking about 1 to 3 inches widespread showing up here. But take a look at these reds showing up in New England. We're from northeast Pennsylvania on northward. Yes, those reds are 3+ inches of precipitation, even locally near 4 inches in Boston, Massachusetts, Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah, that's a little bit concerning because that's a lot of precipitation in a short period of time when the ground still is oh so dry. And you can see here, we need it, but this is going to be a lot of precipitation in a short period of time over a hard ground. Not only is it dry, it probably is frozen because of how cold it has been. And these couple days of warm up, that's not going to really thaw it out all that quickly. It could, we'll see. But the combination of that and dry ground, any heavy rainfall is going to run right off. All right, let's take a look at the NAM. First off, in the northwest, we can see that system will end as we head into tonight. The Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, Kentucky, you're going to see some moderate rain, maybe even heavy at times overnight tonight. That warm front will continue northeastward. We also see here a tight pressure gradient with snow falling in Montana and the Dakotas. That's where the blizzard conditions could happen tonight. As we head into tomorrow, some rain will move across Pennsylvania, and that rain will make its way into New York State, but you do see here, from about Albany northward, it does start as some snow. And you know what? There's not going to be a lot of snow, but an inch or two can't be ruled out, because that is the trend. That cold air is going to be a bit more stubborn to exit than initially thought. And you can see here, the NAM is showing that, but eventually, the warm air will win out, and everyone with the next system is going to start as rain in the northeast, even all the way up in Caribou, Maine. But it's not going to end that way there. And you can see here, as I advance into Tuesday, here comes that next system. The boundary starts to set up. We do see a little bit of a training effect of the rainfall over portions of Louisiana, maybe New Orleans. And then we also see a little bit of a training effect happen from Mississippi through the Florida Panhandle, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia on Tuesday. And that boundary will essentially stall, and then there'll be a little bit of a tilt. And as it's doing that, a new area of low pressure is going to develop either in North Carolina, Virginia, or maybe Maryland. And here it is right here. The NAM is actually showing it developing right on the South Carolina, North Carolina border on Tuesday night. And you can see here, heavy rain along I-95 from D.C., Philly, on up into New York City and Boston. And watch what happens. This moisture is actually going to get pushed back to the northwest as that system develops. See, even Vermont and portions of New York. It's raining up there for you on Wednesday. But look at the backside. Cold air starts to win out. And places like Saratoga, New York, you may end as snow. Burlington, Vermont, you may end as snow. And I'll tell you what, when it flips the snow, it is going to come down heavy for a period of time, which is why I think some places will see 3 to 6 plus inches of snow on the western side of this. But on the eastern side, in places where it stays warm, check this out on the NAM. You're seeing the purple show up. That's 2+ inches of rainfall, all the way from the Gulf Coast straight on up into Maine. Yes, Boston, look at that. The majority of Massachusetts is 2+ inches, unless you get pretty far to the northwest, like say Springfield, northwest of there, you don't see 2 inches of liquid in that area. Now let's take a look at the GFS and the Canadian, because there's a lot of things we need to look at here. Now, first off, here's that first warm front. It clears in the east. The west coast clears out. But watch what happens with the storm system on the 12Z GFS. You can see here, it is pretty convective in nature. And that's where your thunderstorms are going to be in the southeast. Once again, take a look at that. We can see Tuesday night, I forgot to mention this, Tuesday night into Wednesday, that's when we're going to see the thunderstorm threat in the southeast. So I think once again, Wednesday, there will probably be a marginal risk of severe weather again, maybe for portions of South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Perhaps Florida does see some thunderstorms on Wednesday, but look at the convective nature here. There may be even be thunder with this as the front moves through, because this is going to be significant. And look at the backside. Yes, very heavy snowfall from, say, Williamsport, Pennsylvania, on northward with the backside of this. You can see it goes from very heavy rain to very heavy snowfall really quickly. I'm talking 2-inch per hour snowfall rates on the backside of this in the places that flip over. Now, as we head into Thursday, keep your eyes to the Pacific Northwest. Watch what happens. Here comes a first piece of energy. Nothing major, but then watch what happens next weekend. Yeah, things start to get really stormy out there, and there may be multiple storm systems that come through. Now, let's take a look at the temperatures for a second, shall we? And you're going to see something really interesting on the temperatures. That front clears in the east. I'm reversing this. It gets really cold in the east. Thursday will be colder. Friday will be colder. Maybe Saturday as well. But watch what happens afterwards. You'll see Sunday morning, yeah, cold lows, but look what happens here. Already it warms up. Already another warm up as we head into next week. Yes, and cold snap is going to be short lived, but then we have to watch this next boundary. And every model is showing something different for this. Watch what happens here on GFS. The boundary essentially stalls, warm air comes up, then it tries to develop a coastal system. A very strong coastal system over the mid-Atlantic. I'm not so certain that I agree with that. I'll show you the Canadian as well. And let's reverse the Canadian back to the beginning. I'm going to show everything on here because the Canadian really does go bonkers with the heavy rainfall in the mid-Atlantic and northeast this week. Take a look at this. Yes, that is really heavy rainfall over portions of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Washington, Vermont. Yeah, that would cause some flooding concerns for the first part of this week. But then watch what happens in the longer range Canadian. You can see the cold air comes in the east, and even on the Canadian, it is short-lived. It's out of here. There is a little bit of a mixing system we'll have to watch next weekend in the northeast. Here's the system in the northwest, and as you can see, even on the Canadian, multiple waves of energy go through there, starting probably next Friday into the first half of the following week. Now, at the end of the Canadian, you can see here, it's not showing what the GFS has. There's that boundary. It's kind of hung up back to the west, and temperatures really do warm up in the east on the Canadian. This is subject to change on future runs, but you can see here, there is a strong push of warm air that would come in. While meanwhile, west of the Mississippi, hello, this is very cold weather for you. All right, let's take a look at the Climate Prediction Center. 6 and 10-day temperatures, well above average just about everywhere. Taking a look at the precipitation, you can see here, it is going to be active in the midsection of the country, active in the northwest, and this says near normal in the east, but really that's because 6 days out is beyond that system that's coming this week. Above average temperatures in the 8 to 14 day period, although allow for a few days of really cold weather, generally anywhere west of the Mississippi. There will be some cold weather mixed in between, and near normal precipitation on the 8 to 14 day outlook in the east. Again, don't know what is going to come of that next boundary. Is it going to be quicker to move through than the one this week, or is it going to get hung up and is an area of low pressure going to develop like the GFS shows? Below average precipitation in the Four Corners region and up in the Pacific Northwest. This above average I do agree with. Starting next Friday into the following week, multiple rounds of heavy rain, mountain snows. There could be multiple feet of snow in the mountain. Yes, that's something you're going to have to keep an eye on. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Sunday weather update. Generally this week, in a nutshell, the first half is going to be unsettled in the east and quiet in the west. And then that's going to flip second half of the week, where a cold shot of air will come into the east, short-lived one, when the west coast and the northwest, more so the northwest, will get active, and places like Los Angeles, California, you're not going to see much in the way of precipitation. It's going to be relatively dry for you. It's looking like, yet again, that atmospheric river type setup will remain north of you. So please be very careful of the fire risk in your area. It is real over the next couple of days. I will see everyone again tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you're new. Hit that notification bell. Share this video with anyone you know and leave your comments down below. I will see you all again next time. Until then, thanks for watching and enjoy your Sunday evening.